Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the show, or welcome to any new folks here joining us. This is Something for Everybody, and my name is Aaron Machbitz. And today is a solo episode of the podcast where I'm discussing 6 rules about productivity. And I learned these rules from Chris Williamson, so I'm going to go over all 6 rules, share what Chris has to say about each rule, and then I'm going to give my own insights and intake on the rules about productivity. So let's just jump right in with rule number 1. Your life does not need to be easier, it needs to be simpler. Your system is designed to handle stress and challenge, but not complication. You probably handle hard things pretty well, but feel overwhelmed when they become messy. So do not attribute difficulty that which can be explained by complexity. This is rule number 1 from Chris Williamson about productivity. It's your life does not need to be easier. It needs to be simpler. We can handle hard things. We know that from a long history of sort of evolution that we as humans can handle hard things. Now, I think in modern times, we need to voluntarily do more hard things. So when the, involuntary suffering comes into our life, we're a bit armored and we can know we can handle those things through credible evidence that we've already previously put ourselves voluntarily to hard things. But like your system, as Chris says, is designed to handle stress and challenge, but not complication. So sometimes when things feel messy, they feel like they're hard, but your life doesn't need to be easier. It needs to be more simpler. So we have to go down to what our systems are, what our daily processes are. And those are the things that we have to tweak on a day-to-day basis. It all goes back to, for me at least, my mind goes back to athletes. Athletes focus on the daily process, on what things they fully can control. And we can use the same sort of mindset as human beings. So what things in your life do you have full control over that you can dial in, that create your system, that create your daily process? So when things come that are outside of your control, we don't get too overwhelmed because things become messy. We go down to our systems and we don't attribute it to difficulty, which can be explained by the complexity piece. And I think that's really important. So we want to focus on those lead measures, what's actually moving the needle forward in terms of what our systems are. And then we go back to those systems on a day-to-day basis to tweak, to change, to pivot, to adjust, because we're not trying to make our life easier. We need to do hard things. Life is always going to be hard and there's always going to be challenges. So your life doesn't need to be easier. It needs to be simpler. And the way we simplify it is we design systems that are able to handle those types of things. And when it comes into sort of complications or messiness, or we get overwhelmed by it, we just go back to our systems. We go back to what we fully can control and what's totally in our power and what's going to move the needle forward to alleviate some of the things that might be happening. So that's number 1 rule about productivity. Then we go on to number 2. There's no such thing as being overworked, only under-rested. I absolutely love this idea from Chris. You can deal with pretty much anything if you get a good night's sleep, good food, and sufficient movement. Taking your rest ethic just as seriously as your work ethic is a hack to enjoy life more and get stuff done as a side effect, right? This is amazing. Listen to this one more time. You can deal with pretty much anything if you get a good night's sleep, good food, and sufficient movement. There's no such thing as being overworked, only underrested. This is why I talk about the 4 fundamentals of eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well. These are the fundamentals. As Kobe Bryant said, we have to be brilliant at the basics of eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well. These have to be part of our systems. Going back to number 1, part of our system is taking care of ourselves fully, like taking our rest ethic and our rest work just as seriously as the actual work. Because if you bring no energy to your day-to-day, if you can't get out of bed, then you can't get anything done. You can't work on your most important tasks. You can't get deep work done Cal Newport style if you have no energy to actually get out of bed. And so a good night's sleep has to be the foundational piece of everything else that you build on top. One of your core values must be energy, or like living life with some zest, right? And the only way you do that is like eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well, really dialing down into those 4 fundamentals of being a human being. And then you're taking your rest just as seriously as the work, right? Dr. Michael Gervais sports psychologist, talks about this all the time with the professional athletes that he works with. Sleep and recovery is part of the work. Sleep and recovery is part of the work. If you want to get to the edge of your capacity every single day, you can only give 100% if you prioritize the sleep, rest, and recovery just as hard as the work. Then each day you're moving that needle forward because you're able to rest just as hard as you work. And so you have to take your rest ethic just as seriously as your work ethic, even more seriously potentially, because if you want to bring it, if you just want to fucking bring it every day in terms of really going for it in whatever you're working on, being a parent, running a business, going to school, building a business, being a father, like all of these beautiful pursuits in life, if you really want to bring it every single day, then sleep has to be part of that, foundation. I'm going to be a father soon, at the end of September, hopefully around that time. My son is born healthy and my wife is healthy and all things are good in that way. And I know sleep is going to come at a minimum, at least for the first couple months is what I hear, but I'm going to try and prioritize rest and naps. And so my wife can sleep and I can sleep and we can still bring our best selves. I know it's going to be crazy and our schedules are going to be all mixed up and we're going to have to build new systems to be able to handle the new human being that's in our lives that we have to take care of and love and support and all those great things. But me and my wife and I have to make, rest an important piece. So we're teaching our son that as well. His sleep schedule and all those sorts of things will come into play. But it's really important if you create that foundation before maybe that, sporadic new thing comes into your life potentially, because there is no such thing as being overworked, only under-rested. And so if we really dial down on eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well, everything else just is a little bit easier, right? And so our systems are in place, our fundamentals are in place, and we're brilliant at the basics because we know what's most important to us and how we can bring our best energy every single day. The only way to do that is proper sleep, sufficient movement, good food, things like that. And that's what my wife and I want to prioritize, most importantly, and we want to teach our son that as well as he's trying to pursue great things in his life as well. So it's important to build that foundation and make it a priority in your life. So then we move on to number 3. You can have anything you want, but not everything you want. You can have anything you want, but not everything you want. All the gains accrue to the highest performers in any pursuit. Focus your efforts on escaping the messy middle where most competition is. Then once you burst out the top, put your foot on the gas even more. Passion projects on the side are often a distraction from what you should be focused on doing. Less but better. Doing less but better. A brilliant book by Greg McKeown, right? Essentialism, doing less but better, right? You can't do everything all the time for everyone. That's just like impossible, right? You can't have anything you want, but not everything you want. So what are the most important things in your life? It's really important to ask yourself to sit down for 20 minutes in silence and ask yourself the question, what do I really want? I mean, that's how you start to target set. What direction are you aiming at? What direction are you going in? Because we know our direction is more important than our speed. Our direction is more important than our speed. At some points during business, speed is important. You got to get shit done fast. You got to iterate. You got to review, and you got to execute. But when we're thinking about the totality of our life, we're looking at a long-term vision of our future, then we have to know which direction we're going in. And so we have to have a target to aim at. Doesn't have to be the perfect target. Doesn't have to be the only target we have for the rest of our life, and it's never changing. But we have to have somewhat of a direction. And so the question you have to ask yourself in silence, or maybe driving or taking a long walk or listening to music or having conversation with friends, you're deciding, what do I really want? And maybe that'll change, right? I know it's changed for me. What I really want now is a beautiful family. I want to be a father. I can't wait to be a father. And you asked me if I was 22, that's not what I wanted. That's not what my pursuit was. And I've changed the way I lived the last, 5-6 years to be able to bring this into my life. And so my focus now is building businesses and structures around me so I can be the most present husband and father possible, because that's the most important responsibility I have in my life. And so I'm focusing all my efforts on that pursuit. And now if you're talking about sort of anything else you want in this world, maybe what it is for you, what do you really want? And focus your efforts on that, right? Escaping that sort of messy middle where everyone lies, because everyone gets to that sort of middle ground if they've just started, they've done anything. But where's that escape velocity? It's when you move past those other people. It's when you do it a little bit longer than everyone else. It's when you feel like giving up, but then you don't give up. That's just like a podcast, right? Chris Williamson, who I'm talking about from these productivity rules is like almost at 1,000 episodes of his podcast. This is episode like 391 of this podcast, right? And so there's just a long-term vision of what you want to do and how you want to do it. And when you commit to that, you burst out the top. And then when you do, boom, that's when you put your foot on the gas even more. And then there's those compounding effects and those compounding gains happen. And so you can have anything you want, but not everything you want. So the question you must ask yourself, again, deeply all the time, like really, really reflecting on the question, what do I really want? And that will set the direction of your life. And then, of course, you're going to have to make pivots and adjustments and iterate and execute and review and learn and grow and fall down and all those sorts of things that happen in any sort of pursuit in life, whether it's building a business or a podcast or fatherhood or parenting or anything that might happen. Yes, things will alter and change, but ultimately you're still headed in that direction because you keep asking yourself that question and reflecting on it. What do I really want? And so that's number 3, productivity rule. Then we go to number 4, you can't white knuckle creativity. All my best ideas come during workouts, meditation sessions, long walks, when listening to music, and over dinner with friends. They never arrive when I'm sat at my desk, force feeding myself into being creative. This one was funny from Chris. Creativity is kind of like getting an erection. The more you try to force it, the less likely it is to happen, right? You can't white knuckle creativity. You have to. That's why musicians who talk about their actual real life experiences are the best, right? They're actually living their life. I mean, there's a joke with comedians that when they start getting really successful, all they see is airports and hotels. And so that's the only jokes they make about is airports and hotels, right? But like, you can't white knuckle creativity. You have to actually experience things. You have to go out and do stuff. You have to live your life. And then through those experiences, you're able to create what's best for you. Excuse me. A little sick the last couple of days, still working through it, but here we are. Anyways, where was I? So creativity really never arrives when you're sat at your desk, sort of force feeding yourself, be creative. I have to be creative. It's like, think about when you're going to sleep, right? You're going to sleep at night and you got yourself situated, you're prioritizing your sleep, and you got this sort of big thing in the morning that, you want to, get a good night's rest for, even though you should have prioritized your sleep like 2-3 days before that, because usually the night before the big thing, you don't sleep very well anyways, but you decided this is the night and you lay your head down on your pillow and you're like, man, I really need to get a good night's sleep tonight. I really, really need to get a good night's sleep tonight. And then it's 2 hours later and you still haven't fallen asleep. And then you're pissed at yourself. Man, I need to get a good night's sleep. Why can I can't sleep. I can't sleep. And then boom, it's a terrible night of sleep. And then you wake up the next morning and you crush the thing anyways. But right, prioritizing sleep 2 to 3, 4 nights before the big thing is really what you want to do. It's really hard to get it the night of the thing because your mind is thinking about it. It's on top of mind. You're doing it in the morning. Maybe it's a big presentation, a big phone call, a big thing, whatever it is. And so it's the same thing with creativity. If I sit down at this desk in my studio right here and I'm like, yes, I have to write the perfect newsletter. It's going to be super creative. It's going to be the best. All the ideas are flowing to me right now. Nothing, right? But if I'm going on long walks, I'm working out, I'm sitting in the sauna, I'm talking to my wife, we're having a great dinner, we're discussing something in the news or whatever, and something will come to me. Okay, cool, jot it down. Then when I sit down at my desk, because then I actually do have to force myself to sit down at the desk and write the thing, I have sort of a list of ideas, of experiences, of things I talked about. Oh, I talked about this really cool thing with my buddy Trevor this last week. I want to maybe discuss that, put that in my notes. Then when I come back to my notes, then I can sort of spark that creativity through the ideas that I've garnered throughout the week from my workouts. I was working out in the gym and was listening to this podcast and this idea came to me. Okay, I wrote it in my notebook because I keep a notebook with me at the gym to talk about my sets and my weights and all that, but also just to jot down ideas. And then I'm having a meditation session and praying in the morning. Okay, I got an idea. And then when I actually do sit down at my desk, I'm not force feeding nothing, right? I'm not staring into the abyss trying to be creative. I'm thinking of all these ideas that I garnered through experience, right? Same thing that musicians do. They talk about their experiences. That's why there's a lot of young musicians who talk about heartbreak, because that's really challenging when you're a young person. They talk about love and starting a family and all these beautiful things that they're experiencing in their life, and they express that through music. For me, it's through podcasting, it's through newsletters, right? It's through writing, it's through speaking, it's through all these sorts of things. And so throughout the week, I'm trying to spark my creativity by just jotting down different ideas that have come to me from cool conversations or cool insights or cool quotes or whatever it is. Then when I sit down to actually do the work, I have things that are going to just jog me, that are going to light me up, that are going to spark something in me. Boom, then I can write the thing or talk about the thing or write notes down or a script or whatever it is for a podcast or an idea for a show or whatever the case may be. And so we're not force feeding it like that. And let's go back to the erection quote, because I find that very funny, but it's also very fitting, right? Creativity is kind of like getting an erection. The more you try to force it, the less likely it is to happen. So think about that as you're trying to be creative and use life as your sort of muse to be creative in terms of what you're trying to produce, whether it's content or writing a newsletter or trying to talk about an idea, or just want to think about creative things in a creative way as an outlet to help your mental health or your emotional well-being or whatever the case might be. Excuse me. We have two more. Number 5, a lack of confidence killed more dreams than a lack of competence ever did. Listen to that one more time. A lack of confidence killed more dreams than a lack of competence ever did. You don't need more talent. You need more self-belief. There is a guy out there with half your talent, but 10 times your self-belief, making 5 times the money. That's from George Mack. This is 100% true. 100% true. The foundation of your self-confidence is your self-talk, is what you say to yourself. Yes, confidence is also built on, previous success and all those sorts of things. I lost my train of thought. Excuse me. Wow, getting crushed over here. Excuse me. All right, let me jog back in. Here we go. Now, this is all staying in the episode because it's as real, as raw as it gets. But okay, so we're here with a lack of confidence killed more dreams than a lack of competence ever did. You don't need more talent. You need more self-belief, right? Okay, then I was talking about self-talk, right? Confidence means intense trust in oneself. That's what confidence means. Intense trust in oneself. And yes, of course, previous success means something for your confidence, right? Because you have that credible evidence that you are who you say you are, right? But self-confidence, the foundation of self-confidence is self-talk. And yes, there's going to be tons of stuff in your life that are new, that you've never done before, that you don't have previous success in whatsoever, right? You must be willing to be a fool to advance. And so what do you do to start? You just have that belief in yourself that you know you can figure it out, because everything is figure outable. And the foundational piece of self-confidence, of that intense trust in yourself, is self-talk. It is self-talk. It's what you say to yourself when it matters most. Yes, I don't know how to do this thing. Yes, I've never done this thing before, but I believe that I can figure it out. I believe that I can at least try. I believe that I can at least do the thing. You don't need any more talent. You have enough talent. You need more self-belief to go out there and try. And then when you fall down, you learn from that, and you go and you fall, you learn, and you go, you fall, you learn. It's all this sort of repeatable process. And then through all of that, you start to gain the credible evidence that you are who you say you are, that you can start new things, that you can learn new things, that you can try. I mean, one of the most important phrases in sports is "I'm not good enough yet." Yet might be one of the most powerful words when it comes to our self-confidence and it comes to getting better at things. I wasn't a very good podcaster yet, but now almost 400 episodes in, I'm decent. Maybe not after this episode where I stumbled through everything and coughed 912 times and lost my train of thought. But like, it is what it is, right? I'm going to look and review this episode 500 episodes from now and I'll be like, wow, cool, I got even better then. But if I look at this episode from episode 2, it's still a little bit better, right? It's like, is what it is. But I'm willing to fail out loud and learn in public and like stumble over my mistakes and, learn and grow, because that's the whole point of putting content out there. It's like, I'm using this as a reminder to myself just as much as a reminder to you. I love these productivity rules and I'm going to use them, and I'm talking through them with you in the current moment so that I implement them in my life as well. And so when we start to do things that are uncomfortable, we start to gain that knowledge and that evidence in ourselves that we can do those things. And then when we try a different venture, we just extrapolate those skills into another venture, knowing like, hey, I've gotten good at something that I wasn't good at before. And we use that powerful word at the end. Yet, I'm not a very good podcaster yet. I'm not a very good writer yet. I'm not a very good businessman yet. I'm not a very good content creator yet, right? Yet being the most powerful word, meaning that you can get better at the thing. Like Dr. Jordan Peterson says, you must be willing to be a fool to advance. Who cares? You have to have a beginner's mindset, right? I just started jujitsu, not just started. I've been doing jujitsu like 3.5 years. I still have a beginner's mindset. Yeah, I have a blue belt, but I don't know shit about fuck. Right? And it's awesome to go in there and learn new things every single day and get beat up and learn and grow and like see the changes that I've made in my jiu-jitsu game and all these sorts of things, right? I don't need any more talent. I just need a little bit more belief, a little bit more practice, and a little bit more patience with myself as I start to learn the dynamics of jiu-jitsu. And it's the same for any pursuit in your life. You don't need any more talent. There's never going to be a perfect time. You don't need this, and this to be perfectly lined up for you to start. You just have to fucking start. Like George Mack says, there is a guy out there with half your talent, but 10 times your self-belief, making 5 times the money. You don't need anything else. You just need to start knowing that you can figure it out, because everything is figure outable along the way. You just have to have the belief in yourself that you can figure it out, and you can. You are absolutely 100% capable of doing that, right? Because a lack of confidence killed more dreams than a lack of competence ever did. And remember, please remember, confidence means intense trust in oneself, and the foundational piece for strong anti-fragile confidence is your self-talk. So once you master your self-talk, your confidence is unshakable. And then we go to number 6, which is 90% of procrastination is due to one of 2 issues. First, I don't know what to do. So potentially break the project into smaller chunks and define the next physical action. Second, I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. This, you can maybe, chat GPT, go to your boss, Google search, ask colleagues. And so 90% of procrastination is due to those 2 issues. I don't know what to do. I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Procrastination is the approach avoidance conflict. And all of us deal with procrastination at some point. And it's just about getting through that struggle phase of flow. Once we get through the struggle phase of flow, then we sort of remove this approach avoidant conflict, also known as procrastination, and then we can think about it being these 1 or 2 issues. I don't know what to do. Okay, you don't know what to do. Let's really simplify. We go back to our systems. Okay, what's totally in our control? Okay, I got to break this huge project because I don't know what to do right now. It seems too overwhelming, too big. I don't know what to start on. Let's break it into really small, actionable chunks, something I can do right now in this moment. And then I just keep doing the next best thing over and over and over again. And then that removes procrastination. That removes this approach avoidance conflict, and it gets you through the struggle phase into flow. And then the second is, I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, you don't know how? How is easy. We start asking questions. Remember, we started asking that question earlier of what do I really want? Sort of same thing applies here when we're trying to get through the procrastination stage, right? ChatGPT it. Go to your boss, Google search, start asking these types of questions so that'll lead you in the right direction. So you know you have a target now because you know what to do, but now you have one small action on how to do it. And then you just keep building on that action over and over and over again. And this is sort of how you eliminate procrastination, or what's also called the approach avoidance conflict. And so those are the 6 rules of productivity from Chris Williamson of the Modern Wisdom podcast, one of my sort of heroes and idols when it comes to the podcasting space. So I figured I'd break down his rules of 6 productivity, give my insights on them, even though I coughed like 75 times throughout this episode, but still really enjoyed it. And if you found it valuable at all, please share it with a friend. That's sort of the best way that we can grow this podcast. And I appreciate you tuning in or listening or watching or whatever you did. If you're brand new, if you've seen every single episode, I appreciate you very, very much. I love you, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.